Mr. Burke, would you be willing to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today?
If I must, yes.
Oh, not yet.
One second, and we'll start. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Good morning, everybody. This is the Mason County Commission meeting for July 30th of 2024. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Burke, will you do us the honor, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Okay, item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Do you have any
Well-
correspondence for us today?
I do. Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in the following. Notice of application from Higher Ground Cannabis LLC, OGZ Weed LLC, and Stonehenge Gardens, and notice of renewal applications for cannabis and liquor licenses. Department of Interior Bureau of Indian Affairs sent notice of intent to prepare an environmental impact statement for the Nisqually Indian Tribe's proposed B2 Trust and Casino project in Thurston County. United States Bankruptcy Court sent in notices for Rite Aid Corporation for the amended final order authorizing and approving the conduct of store closing sales, with such sales to be free and clear of all liens, claims, and encumbrances. Philip Wolf sent in an application seeking appointment to the Transportation Improvement Program Citizens Advisory Panel. And Puget Sound Partnership Board sent a letter regarding critical areas, ordinance, and/or comprehensive plan periodic update.
Thank you. Any other correspondence or organizational business coming for us today?
There is not.
All right, next up, we have item number 5, which is our open forum for citizens' input. This is your opportunity to talk to the commission on any item that is not on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, we ask that you wait, and you'll be given an opportunity to speak at that time when it comes up. With that being said, remembering that time is of the essence here, there's only a 15-minute total. Remember that there's 3 minutes per person to speak. We'll start with those in the room first, then we'll go ahead and move to Zoom. I'll ask right now if somebody would like to speak to the commission on an item not on the agenda, please raise your hand so I can call on you.
Hey, bud.
Come on up, sir. Please announce your name, perhaps where you're from, so they can have it for the records.
Okay, I'm Dave Butts. I live at 1051 Southeast Binswanger Loop Road. I'm here today because this has been ridiculous. It's been a year and a half. I've been over complaining to the county several hundred times, it seems like. Nobody's doing anything over there. I've sent Commissioner Trask an email. She forwarded the email off to somebody else. She didn't even respond to me. The lady next door is living there in a tiny home without any permits. She doesn't have a permit for her tiny home, the power, the water, or a septic. And her septic is a 300-gallon water tank, which is sitting on the easement of the property, which is supposed to be 6 feet off with the county codes. Nobody's doing anything about that. She's got to be draining the tank because it's not evaporating, and she has it pumped every 3 months. The average water use per person is 60 gallons a day. So you tell me where that water's going. It's going right down into the creek, which drains into Mill Creek. Nobody's done anything about that. She's also not paying any kind of taxes except for empty land property tax. So where do I get that for? Apparently you guys aren't doing nothing, so why do I need to pay my taxes? She comes in, she lies to the county, she lies to the courts. She's had us, my neighbor here, we've been in the courts twice now for her trying to get a restraining order on us. Because she's mad at us, because we're complaining to the county, which isn't doing anything. So she's trying to get a restraining order and lies to the county, the courts, and deputies. Trying to get us in trouble. I think that pretty much covers everything that's going on.
Can I ask you that address again, or close to it?
Hers is 1053 Southeast Binswanger Loop Road. Well, and then I have to take time off. My wife takes time off. We're losing money. I've spent over $10,000 on this already. Because I had to get an attorney to help defend myself.
Thank you.
Is that it?
This is your time to
So
talk
is it,
to us.
am I gonna get an explanation of what's going on?
Not at this point, if you can meet with us afterwards, we do the best that we can to fill you
Well,
in.
apparently we can't even send an email back to me that I sent, so.
Okay, well, I'll be available, we'll all be available after the meeting. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Please, come forward, say your name and perhaps where you're from. And the reason why I say perhaps where you're from, there is no requirement that you have to say your address. So that's why I say perhaps where you're from. If you don't mind, we appreciate knowing.
Hello, well, good morning, Mason County. Commissioners, my name is Monty Ritter. I live in the Shelton Urban Growth Area, just outside the city limits in the county, but in the Shelton Urban Growth Area. And for years, for decades actually, I've had complaints against my neighbors for illegal burning. I've called the fire department time and time again to have this problem resolved, and I could get nothing until last year. I was finally forced to come to the Mason County Commissioners and ask for you guys to intervene. And I want to thank you for your intervention, because Commissioner Netherland, I appreciate you going to the Olympic Regional Clean Air Agency, and you procured this sign from them for me to place on my property to state that people who live in an urban growth area have to abide by the fire code as if you were in the city, not in the county. There's a difference there. And I was, after over 100 calls, I'm certain, over the years, to the fire department, last year I put this up on my property. Immediately my neighbors had the fire marshal, Marshall Collins, come over and measure to make sure that it wasn't on county property and state that this was a real regulation. Stopped everything. Haven't had a single call to the fire department for over a year. This sign has paid for itself. But just recently, somebody has decided that for some reason, defacing the sign would make it possible for them to illegally burn again. And that's ridiculous. I appreciate it if you'd intervene one more time and provide me with a couple more signs to place up one more time. This time I'll put a game camera on it and a sign saying they should smile. And finally, if I can say, they also painted some graffiti, some expletives on the county road right in front of my place and my driveway. And I would like, because of, it's possible they might see me out there trying to cover over something and claim and put in a complaint to the county that I'm painting the road. If I could have your permission, please, to go out there and paint over the graffiti that is in front of my driveway. And that's everything. Thank you so much for everything. You have been good, and I can understand what happens, but it's difficult to deal with everybody, and you guys have been wonderful. I appreciate everything so much. Thank you.
Oh.
That was my time.
Nailed it.
And just to be clear, I just represent the Orca for all of us.
Yes, you do. I found that out.
And Monty, you're in luck, because I have an extra one of those in my office that I'll give you after the meeting.
Oh, Kevin, Commissioner Schutte, sir, you have been wonderful on so many things. Commissioner Trask, you too have helped. I've had so many other problems, and you guys have all been easy to get out and talk to, so I wish everybody would take advantage of.
Appreciate the accolades, but that's 3 minutes is gone.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, is there?
Keep going.
Yeah.
I'll come back later and do that, but I
Please.
kind of leave and let you guys be.
Is there anybody else in the room who would like to speak to the commission on any item not on the agenda? Okay, I see none. Is there anybody in Zoom that would like to speak to the commission on any item that is not on the agenda? Please unmute yourself, say your name, and I'll call on you. Anybody on Zoom who would like to speak to the commission, any item not on the agenda, unmute yourself, say your name, and I'll call on you. Hearing none, we're gonna go ahead and move forward. Next up is the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Next up, item 7, approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the June 17th and June 24th, 2024 briefing minutes, June 18th, 2024 regular minutes, and May 24th, 2024 special meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded for the approval of the June 17th and June 24th, 2024 briefing minutes, the June 18th, 2024 regular minutes, and the May 24th, 2024 special meeting minutes as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Next up is item number 8, approval of the action agenda. All items on the action agenda will be read to the public. After we read them into the record, you'll be given an opportunity to have an item taken off for a special vote, or you can even ask a question to help you make that decision if necessary. With that, we will go ahead and read each item into the record first. I will read item number 8.1 through 8.5. Commissioner Trask, if you'll read 8.6 through 8.10, and Commissioner Schutte, 8.11 through 8.15. Item number 8.1, approval. Warrants and treasurer's electronic remittance, claims, clearing fund, warrants number 8106260 through 8106544. The amount, $2,199,424.41. Direct deposit fund, warrants number 107429 through 107845. The amount, $937,556.55. Salary Clearing Fund, warrants number 7008208 through 7008235, the amount $627,771.56. Item number 8.2, approval for Public Health and Human Services to purchase a new mobile outreach unit for the estimated cost of $300,000. Item number 8.3, approval for the county administrator to sign the North Mason Fire District American Rescue Plan Act ARPA contract amendment to expand the scope of work to include program startup costs. Item number 8.4, approval for the chair to sign the subrecipient agreement with Community Action Council, CAC, of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties, and to extend the Public Service Washington State Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. Item number 8.5, approval of the private line occupancy, PLO, permit granting permission for the proposed water line to cross under the North Shore Road for address 10891 for Northeast North Shore Road, Belfair, parcel number 32224-50-00082.
Mr. Chair, 8.6, approval of the private line occupancy permit granting permission for the proposed water line and septic transport line to cross under East Island Lake Drive for address 1940 East Island Lake Drive, parcel number 32006-50-02077. Item 8.7, approval of the private line occupancy permit granting permission for the proposed water line to run under and across East Mason Lake Road for address 1170 East Mason Lake Road, parcel number 32134-31-00010. Item 8.8, approval to set a public hearing for Tuesday, August 27th, 2024 at 9:15 to consider approving the franchise agreement between Mason County and Pleasant Cove Water Association to construct, operate, and maintain their water system along North Shore Road and Effendall Pass Road. Item 8.9, approval to reappoint Philip Wolf to the Transportation Improvement Program Citizens Advisory Panel to represent Commissioner District 1 Rural for a 3-year term expiring August 30th, 2027. Item 8.10, approval of the 2025 through 2026 contract with Mason Web TV for live video streaming and video recording services.
Mr. Chair, item 8.11, approval for Parks and Trails to enter into contract with Marine Floats to repair the existing float system at Latimer's Landing for an estimated cost of $9,350. Item 8.12, approval for $310. Item 8.13, approval of the executive assistant position in central services at range 24 on the non-represented salary schedule, and approval of the updated non-represented salary schedule as presented. Item 8.14, approval for the county administrator to go out to bid for phase 2 of the district court building number 10. And item 8.15, approval of the memorandum of understanding with Engineers Guild creating a senior systems administrator position.
Now that all the items have been read into the record, this is your opportunity to ask a question that may help you to decide whether to have an item taken off for a separate vote. If you'd like to testify, we'll go ahead and we'll take the item off. But if you have a question, now's your time. Please raise your hand and I will call on you. Is there anybody in Zoom that has a question that would help them to decide whether to take an item off for a separate vote? Please unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Anybody have a question in Zoom land? Unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Hearing none, is there anybody who would like to take an item off for a special vote? Commissioners?
No.
Anybody in the audience? No. Anybody on Zoom? Unmute yourself, say your name. Hearing none, I will look forward to a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of today's action agenda items 8.1 through 8.15 as read.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded for the approval of the action agenda in its entirety, 8.1 through 8.15. Any comments?
I just encourage people to take a look at what's been presented, because it takes a lot more time than just this 2 minute.
Just a little bit more time. I'd like to make a quick comment. Thank you, Philip Wolf, for stepping up and doing it again for TIPCAP. The citizens are the backbone of everything. If you want to have a direct line to what's happening in the community and a direct impact, joining these citizen advisory committees really is helpful. So we appreciate Philip Wolf for agreeing to do it again. And another special thank you to Mason Web TV. We're passing another contract with them. People that haven't been here forever don't remember what it was like before we had Mason Web TV. There used to be a little camera up there with a red light on it that nobody could see when they were trying to watch it on TV. And it just stayed in place and nobody could hear what we were saying. Then he shows up and with just a little bit of equipment, and now we look around and we've got equipment everywhere. So thank you, Mason Web TV and Diedrich, for stepping up to do this. And now you do it everywhere throughout the county. You're very much appreciated. With that being said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, next up, item number 9, other business, department heads or elected officials. Are there any department heads or elected officials who would like to speak to the commission or the citizenry at this time? I see none in the room. Is there any on Zoom that would like to speak to the commission or the citizenry? Hearing none? We're there. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to move into item number 10.1. We're going to open a public hearing to consider the approval of the ordinance setting the 2024 planning program fee schedule. Staff, Marissa Watson is not here.
I'm standing in for Marissa.
Okay.
It's Kel Rowan.
Kel Rowan.
Good morning, Kel Rowan from Mason County Community Development. And we are proposing to update the fee schedule for planning. On the planning fee side, we did brief and then there was an action agenda setting this public hearing, and you'll also note I think a couple of weeks we're gonna be doing the building side. So we tried to coordinate the same, didn't quite work out, but don't wanna confuse the two, but we are updating fees across the board in the community development department. Haven't done so on the planning side since 2017. There are some things that in the updates of our resource ordinance, development regulations, shoreline master program, that the regulations call for a fee, but we've never updated the fee schedule. So we have been doing a lot of things for free, and now we're going to charge a fee for those things, and they've been added to the fee schedule. Some of the fees have been reduced, although a majority of them have increased just a tad, but we did reduce some fees where we felt like we're not spending the time. The planning department was not spending the time that was reflected in the fee, so we brought those down. This, if approved, would just go in, the ordinance would go into effect and take place after today.
Okay, is there anybody that has any questions for staff regarding the presentation that was just given? I see none in here. Is there anybody in Zoom that has any questions for staff in regards to the presentation that was just given? Hearing none, commissioners, anything? Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and close this this and open up into public testimony. Is there any public who would like to testify at this time? Please raise your hand. No? Any public in Zoom land that would like to testify on this issue, please unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Hearing none, we will close public testimony, and we are going to go ahead and move into commissioner deliberations and/or a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we approve the ordinance setting the 2024 planning program schedule.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve setting the 2024 planning program fee schedule as presented to us. Any comments or questions? Nope, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. That hearing is closed. Thank you. Okay. So next up, we're going to move on to a second hearing, and this time it is Calderon on the top. This is, let me find that paperwork, see it properly here. All right, this is a hearing to consider the approval of ordinance amending Mason County Code Title 17, Section 17.07.560 relating to increasing height limits. Staff, Calderon.
All right. So this amendment was brought forward to us from the Port of Shelton. And if you recall, a few years ago now, or a couple of years ago, we did increase height limits across the board in the rural areas as well as Shelton, Belfair, and Allen urban growth areas, with the exception of the airport industrial zone, just given you its unique set of circumstances there and the FAA oversight, and so we left that alone as is at a height limit of 36 feet. And the Port of Shelton has worked with the FAA and looked at increasing the height limit up to 45 feet, and then any increase after that would be with a special use permit. And we took this to the Planning Advisory Commission, which did recommend unanimously recommended approval for the board, and staff is also recommending approval. And the folks from the Port of Shelton were unable to be here today, just lots of different conflicts, and so I assured them that we could represent their interest in recommending approval of the height increase, and that of course anything would meet the unique circumstances of the airport.
Any questions?
Yeah, Cal, thanks for the presentation. Just when somebody would go for a special use permit to exceed that height limit,
Yeah.
is there also a review by FAA that would be maybe different than it would be in other parts of the county?
I don't know how that works, but the county staff would rely on the Port of Shelton staff on working that out. And we would likely want to see some assurance from the FAA that, yes, this is not going to be in conflict with the airport overlay zone, and any future impacts for the long-term planning horizon of the airport itself.
Thank you.
Any questions from the audience? Any questions on Zoom regarding the presentation? Please unmute yourself and say your name. Any questions on Zoom regarding the presentation? Unmute yourself and say your name. I will close the presentation and move into public testimony. Is there any public who would like to testify at this time regarding this issue? Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to testify on this issue? If so, please unmute yourself, say your name, or raise your hand. Please unmute yourself, say your name if you'd like to testify. Hearing none, I will close public testimony and move into commissioner deliberations and/or motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the amendment to Mason County Code Title 17, Section 17.0.560 relating to raising the height limit as described in Attachment A.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the ordinance amending Title 17, Section 17.07.560 in regards to raising the height levels as shown in Attachment A. Any discussion?
Yeah, just a real quick one. Thank staff for getting this before us. I'm anxious to see what the port's going to do as they move forward with this new amendment. Maybe we'll have some taller buildings out there.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Kel. All right, next up, we have our calendars. Commissioner Trask, if you wouldn't mind starting, Commissioner Schutte, then myself.
So I'll get there eventually. So moving forward, looking forward, looks like I will be able to make the homelessness meeting with Kilmer's office. Tonight I have a town hall with Representatives Griffey and Couture out in Hoodsport at the community church there. Tomorrow I'm having coffee with Susan Kirchhoff with the Shelton Family and Youth. Turning Point board meeting, we're saying farewell, but not really farewell, to Becky Sain, who was our stand-in for our executive director on Turning Point. So she's going to come back to the board after a brief vacation. And then I have Public Works Board Executive Committee meeting, the Wasatch County Revenue Legislative Priority Work Group, Public Works Board meeting. I want to remind folks that on Friday at the YMCA is the World Breastfeeding celebration. So make sure that you go there and show support. Also Saturday is Burgers and Brews down at Nealon Park. Go there. Expect to see you there. Monday briefing, Wasatch Virtual Assembly. We have our Board of County Commissioners reorg meeting on Tuesday. Meeting with the tribe on Tuesday afternoon. Area Agency on Aging meeting. The National Health Center. So the National Health Center Week Stakeholder Appreciation is on Wednesday the 7th at Peninsula Community Health Services. EDC meeting on Thursday. Public Works Board Executive Committee meeting. Wasatch County Revenue Legislative Priority Work Group. There's 5 of those and they're once a week. So those will be fun. Business after hours at Cameo Boutique and Hood Canale on Thursday. Turning Point is having a resilience run for domestic violence on Saturday the 10th. And then we're back here for briefings and another Wasatch Virtual Assembly and back for commission meeting.
Mr. Chair, following today's meeting, I'm going to be sitting down with Commissioner Pete Buckets from Central Mason Fire. Also later on this week have our kickoff for our website redesign with the IT Steering Committee. And then I have a BHASO all-staff meeting, and then followed by BHASO clinical director interviews. I'll also be at the Barrels and Brews event for Mason General Hospital Foundation. We're super excited about that on the 3rd. Back for briefings, and then have a check-in with council and our new executive director for MACECOM on the 5th. Our reorg meeting, EDC board meeting, Union United meeting, business after hours at Cameo Boutique. Let's see, Mason Crisis Services System of Care Work Group, and my bi-weekly BHASO leadership check-in ahead of our meeting on the 13th.
Okay. I'll probably also be attending the World Breastfeeding event. Rotary Vista Oncology is opening a new clinic here in Shelton. And for those of you that don't know, I go to Vista Oncology. That's where I do my oncology. So I will be there for their grand reopening up here. With that, the Rear Admiral has requested to attend the Navy Fleet Week, and I will be attending that. The Wells group, we all know the Wells family is having an anniversary, so if you go there, I'm announcing it now because I'll be there as well. Law Enforcement Firefighter Board, class of '84, even though I was not part of it, has asked if I show up, and so I will. There's an election party happening on the 6th. there's another art event on Lavender. If anybody wants to know more about that, let me know. Orca, Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority, WASAC meeting, I pop in and out on the ones that are virtual. The commission reorg meeting, I will probably also be at the Barrels and Brews event, and the after hours at Cameo Boutique. With that being said, is there anything else?
Oh, I'd probably be attending some election events on the 6th as well.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. Have a great day, everybody.